Hello and welcome to K2Watch with Ahmed Beg and Hassan Miraj. Today we're gonna discuss the current scenario of Israel and Palestinian conflict. I would like to ask Dr. Hassan Miraj, what is the insignificance of Biden's visit to Israel?
Dr. Amir, you said insignificance, not the significance, but that is important and that makes sense. So, Dr. Amir, the word is insignificance, and I know this has a greater meaning. So, President Biden went to Israel, and so the question is why he went to Israel. The biggest answer is that it's an election year, 2024. So, everything in America rotates around the elections. So the Democratic Party obviously wants to get the votes next year, and the votes come from certain communities, and going to Israel brings those votes, and that is what matters. Secondly, he also wants to, of course, maybe shows that he's a healthy old president. He can travel on an instant, such a long travel, and come back. That shows to the general public that although he's 78 or 79, but he's such a strong, healthy man. And then there is another significance.
Which I doubt.
You doubt, but that's what he's trying to give an impression, that I'm such a strong, healthy person that I can travel to Israel, maybe more than 10, 12 hours of air travel, although the Air Force One is a very comfortable airliner, but still the significance is there. And then is finally that he wants to show the world that how much involved he in this conflict, and how eager is he to solve and stop this bloodshed. So there are three things: the election, the impression that he's a healthy, older but healthy president, and third is to show the world that he's very involved. And maybe all three are correct. So probably this is the significance, but it appeared to be insignificant because all the Arab head of states kind of refused President Biden to meet.
Okay, what is the Palestinian gain and loss?
So the Palestinians have lost so many lives. They have lost their children. Mothers have lost their babies. Husbands are lost. The elderly are killed. So there is a lot of loss of life, precious life. Each human life is extremely precious. More than 3,000 to 4,000 Palestinians have been killed because they have been carpet bombing. So this loss of life is the biggest loss that Palestinians have to endure with. But they have established a moral superiority over the Israeli regime. The current Israel regime has presented themselves as barbaric war criminals, unfortunately. So the achievement of the Palestinians is that they have achieved a superior moral ground throughout the world. They have also established a lot of support for their cause. They have also established the sense of victimization, and they have again brought up the Palestinian issue in front of the whole world. At this time, every house, every state center, every parliament is just discussing Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and the sympathies are going with Palestinians. So this is the big achievement for the Palestinians.
How do you view the world response to this conflict?
Yeah, it is very interesting that the response of the masses is different from their leaders in most of the countries. And it appears that the world is divided into two halves. One is the Western world, and one is the non-Western world. As we see, there have been protests in favor of Palestinians all throughout the world. And even in America and in Europe, the masses are rallying around Palestinian cause. and probably they see what is happening in Gaza. Children are dying of thirst. They are not even allowed to drink water, to eat food, and they are bombed from the top. So this scenario, of course, brings a lot of sympathy, and obviously this is total violation of international law and the laws of the war. So as we see, the masses are protesting, and they are with the Palestinians, but many of the leaders are not, because leaders have their own vested interests. However, there have been very significant statements by Senator Bernie Sanders, who really portrayed a very good picture of what's happening in Gaza and the plight of the people who are dying there with hunger, with disease, no medications, and bombing on the top. And then there was a Jewish protest of dozens of Jews in the rotunda of the Congress. That also is significant because the Jewish population is also feeling the truth. And they have always felt the truth, but now they are speaking it out. And then there's a State Department director who resigned for the same reason, that Israel is receiving billions of dollars of money and military aid, and this is against the ethics and morality of American culture, the American philosophy, the American Revolution. So there is the significant difference is that most of the leaders differ from their masses, and in the Arab world, I think so. The leaders are now getting conscious about what their masses want, although most of them have dictatorships, but still they have to care about it.
How do you see success and failure of Israel?
So the question is, what was the objective of Israel? The objective of Israel was, as they stated, destruction of Hamas. Have they achieved destruction of Hamas? No, absolutely not. There's no single prominent leader that has perished. Have they spared civilian innocent citizens of Palestine? No, they have killed thousands of innocent civilian citizens. Have they? Are they able to tell the world that they are the victims? No, they have failed, because the world is protesting in favor of Palestinians. Although the Israeli citizens who were killed, they were victims, and as a human being, we should all sympathize with them. But the way the Israeli government has reacted has turned the tables over, and they are no more considered as victims. They are considered as aggressives, because their reaction has been so overwhelmed that even President Biden had to say that you should not be consumed by your rage. And President Biden is advising Israeli government not to invade Gaza, because that will be a disaster, catastrophic genocide of Palestine.
Do you think that Israel will invade Gaza?
Israel is in big dilemma. They have achieved nothing so far except killing thousands of innocent Palestinians. They are stuck up. The American president is advising them not to invade. If they don't invade, their promise will be shattered, which they said from the very first day: we're going to invade Gaza, we're going to change the reality. If they do invade, then they have even lost the support of President Biden, which is a big loss. And if even they invade, they know how much destruction on both sides will happen, and especially the loss of life. And there is a very high risk of Israeli soldiers who may be killed, because it's going to be a war inside the territory of the Palestinian people, Hamas, who knows the place, and they have tunnels and they have everything that will hurt Israeli forces. So Israel is in a dilemma. They don't know what to do. They are stuck up. But I think so at the end, they will not invade Gaza, because it's been more than a week and they have not invaded, and the protests throughout the world, the statements of so many prominent people against their aggressive reaction, and the risk of losing so many Israeli soldiers will force them to stop there. But then, what to do?
Okay, thank you. Why Israel want Palestinian to go to the south of the Gaza?
Yeah, this is a very interesting phenomena. Uh, there could be several things. So let me talk one by one. The first possibility is what the Israelis were planning and thinking was that let us move as many Palestinians to the south so that when they invade the northern part of Gaza, they do not have to worry about the human life loss, because that brings a very bad name to Israel. So, and then they will have easy access to the tunnels of Hamas and to the infrastructure of Hamas. So probably the plan was that let the majority of the people move to south, so it will be an empty place and they could destroy the infrastructure and the tunnels and everything. And once the north is destroyed, ask the population to move to the north and then do the destruction in the south. So in this way, it would make easier for them to destroy the infrastructure, tunnels and everything for Hamas. The other possibility is the long-term, in-depth plan to move 2.1 million Palestinians totally out of Gaza to make them refugees in Egypt. And once refugees are gone out of Gaza, there is no way they will ever return. So they will get rid of Gaza, they can take it over as an Israeli territory, and the return of refugees will never happen. So they will, in one way, they will get rid of 2.1 million Palestinians for good. So these are the two possibilities which might be in the minds of Israeli planners.
Think that Hezbollah gonna jump in?
Very difficult question, and difficult for Hezbollah also to decide, because although Hezbollah is probably much more powerful than Hamas, but again the US carriers in Mediterranean and the Israeli power is not easy to face. Hezbollah, I think so, is playing a smarter game. They want to keep a sub-level war on the northern border, keep engaging Israel at the northern border, but without a war, so that they could not focus and concentrate towards Gaza. They have to look on the back, but not to engage in a full war. So the purpose is distraction for Israel, of course, keeping it on alert on both sides, but without getting to a full war, because if Hezbollah gets involved, which it will mean that the Lebanon has to get involved. Lebanon is suffering economically. They have very poor economic conditions, and that could lead a full-fledged war between Lebanon and Israel, and that would be quite a disaster. So Hezbollah probably is not going to engage into full-fledged war unless there is some exceptional circumstances in which Israel takes some very aggressive action. I don't know what more aggressive Israel can do, but they can do more.
So, keeping this all the scenario, what is the future of this situation?
Actually, there is no future if Israel does not understand that occupation of Palestinian territories is not given back, and if there is no two-state solution, then there is no future. there is only one future, and that is violence, continuous violence. Now, even if we imagine that Israel is able to somehow destroy Hamas, Hamas will come back in 10 years. And when there was no Hamas, there was PLO. And the PLO was also designated as terrorists. And there is no Hamas in West Bank, but there is constant killing and violence in West Bank. So Hamas is in Gaza, no Hamas in West Bank, but there is constant violence, constant disturbance in West Bank. So the only future is a two-state solution. Otherwise, there is no future.
Okay, thank you. Let's switch to the other topic. What is the state of minorities in India?
There is no improvement, there is no change. I think so. The Indian Hindutva leaders are watching closely. As you see, there are not many statements from Indian leaders on this conflict. They are watching closely and trying to understand how to deal with Kashmiris, with the Palestinian Punjab people, with the Dalits, and all other minorities, the Christians. And they are trying to learn from this conflict of Israel and Palestine.
Do you have any updates?
Yeah, there are many news of what they are doing. So, BJP leader says Muslim student protesting for Palestinians must be hanged to death. Then, terror accused BJP leader threatens safety of Muslim women during hate speech. BJP leader attends Hindu militant groups events, praises shrine demolitions in Uttarakhand. These are small incidences which are happening every day. Most of them go unnoticed, but some of them come on the surface. So, two Muslim men interrogated for accompanying a Hindu girl in Karnataka. There are many things happening. They call jihad love, which means they think that the Muslim men are trying to take over or engage Hindu girls and convert them into Muslims after marrying them. So they call it jihad love. However, love is love. It doesn't care about jihad or anything. So these type of things are happening, and there are reports in which, for example, Uttar Pradesh police register forced conversion cases with no legal standing.
That's all. We keep bringing some current scenarios. Please keep watching K2Watch, share it, subscribe it, and don't forget to comment. Thank you very much.